Hey, good evening. It's your girl Jersey Love Steph, and wherever you are, I just want to welcome you in. Now, I wanted to share this because I have three children, and maybe you're going through the same thing that I went through. But I'm not an expert, but I do have experience being that I did try to breastfeed three of my children, and two of them I was not successful with. The third one I was successful, but then after 8 months, I had to kind of wean off. But always seek professional help. You know, there's lactation people at the hospital to help you. But what I want to say is, when I had my first two children, I was able to give them breast milk like the first 3 days, and I tried to continue. But I had, hey, how are you, Tia? Nice to see you. I gave them the colostrum because when you first have a baby, you have colostrum, and it's the antibiotics. Basically, it gives them immune system. So all my children have very good immune systems, but sometimes you can't breastfeed them because sometimes we're taking medicines, and sometimes you can't feed, give them the breast milk. But it's always the best if we can. But what I want to tell you is formula is just as good. And WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, helps mothers. If you don't have a big income, usually they don't ask many questions when you go there. You just give them, like, they take a questionnaire, they want to take your iron and stuff like that. I don't know everything, but sometimes you can do formula and you can do breast milk. They supplement, they'll give you foods if you're breastfeeding. But what I want to tell you, okay, sit down, please. Sorry, guys. My oldest is 21, my son is 20, and my youngest is 11. But if you're really stressed out, like when you first have a child, it is a high stressful situation. And sometimes, oh, my phone's about to die. And sometimes you have to go back to work, right? It's just the way it is. So sometimes it's really hard, right? Because sometimes you go back to work 6 weeks and you're going to have to pump after, right? So my situation was I wasn't able to breastfeed because it's so much stress when you first have a child. It's like you're trying to figure everything out, and the days just go by so fast. So if you find yourself like feeling like pressured and people are giving you pressure to breastfeed and stuff like this, and sometimes people rub it in your face that they breastfed all their children and blah blah blah, it kind of makes you feel like some sort of way because you're trying your best, or maybe you really don't want to breastfeed because you feel like you got to go back to work, right? Hold on 1 second. um Always breast milk is good. Formula is just as good. They make it very good now, but sometimes people just can't afford it. But like I said, we have WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, and it helps get the formula and stuff. And even if you needed, let me make sure that, okay, even if you needed like special formula, they'll give you special formula, and it's for very young mothers, to until not elderly mothers, you know what I'm saying though, but up until the, hey, how are you, Caro? Nice to meet you. But it goes up to the age of the child is 5 years old, and you'll get milk and stuff for them. But like I said, the only reason I'm sharing this is because my daughter, I really tried, and I was getting, my mother-in-law at the time, she breastfed all her children, and there was a lot of pressure to breastfeed, and I did. I wanted to breastfeed, so I was trying, but my milk just wouldn't come in because like I said, I was a new mom, and when you're stressed out, your milk's not going to come in too. So if you're like under stress, that milk is not going to come in. It's just like if you see like a cow or like a horse or something like that. Obviously, we're not a cow or horse, but it's the same thing. If they're stressed out, they're just not going to have that milk. And another thing is too, like once you start having your period, I would notice like my milk, my breast just wouldn't give me the milk. And when I was able to do it with my son, but like I said, my first two kids, I was under a lot of stress. I didn't have that time. Well, I did have time up until a certain point, but I had to go back to work. So you're going to have to pump. So for me, it was a help too. When you do formula, you can do the breast milk, but if you have just the breast milk, then nobody else can really feed the baby unless you were to pump that, which I did do that. But also think about that too. It gives you the option to, if you choose to do formula. You know, this is just a message to help you. So if you're feeling like a lot of pressure, you can lay it down, because the most important thing is just feeding the baby. So whether you do formula or you do breast milk, you're the parent, and everything, they make the formula very good for the baby. But if you can give that baby the first 3 days of the breast milk, your colostrum, it's like all the antibodies, it gives them an immune system. But like I said, sometimes we can't because maybe we're on medicines and stuff like that. But they'll tell you this stuff in the hospital, you know. Hey Danielle, nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in. And my youngest is 11 now, so I mean, I was a mom a while ago, but I wanted to just share this because being a new mom is really, it's a lot of stress on top of everything. You know, it's a joy, but it's also a lot of, you got this brand new baby and you're trying to do the best thing. And sometimes people can put this pressure on us. And like I said, like my mother-in-law at the time, she wasn't doing it on purpose, but I felt some sort of way because I really was trying, and I kept going back and forth between the formula, and it's not really, it wasn't funny at the time because I was getting really upset because I really wanted to breastfeed my baby, but I just didn't have the milk just wasn't coming in. And it could be because I was a new mom, just trying to balance everything out, trying to figure everything out. So it was like I was going back and forth between the formula and then the breast milk. And then I just decided, like, she came to me because I guess she seen that I was really stressed out, and she was a good mom. She was a good mother-in-law. She said, just do the formula, you know. That was the most important thing. But honestly, it was good because other people were able to help me feed the baby. But if you did breastfeed, you can pump. And you'll always have the milk when the baby starts crying. The milk will come in, you know. So it's like you have to constantly, you'll feed the baby, you know. And you know how much to feed your baby. Sometimes they want a little more, and you'll see that as you go along. But you'll know your baby, you know. And so that's all the advice that I really can get. But like I said, at the hospital, they have lactation people to help you, and also WIC, Women, Infant, and Children, helps with the formula. And like I said, they don't inundate you with a ton of questions when you go there. It's just a simple questionnaire, and that's it. They want to give you the help that you need. Like, I mean, it's always education as far as like nutrition and stuff like that. They always help you, and there's always they give you vouchers and stuff, you know, because not everybody has a huge income, you know. Let's be honest. I was always like the working poor when I had my kids, because really it's hard to. You can have a career, but for me now, I work like 50 to 60 hours. It's really hard when you first have that brand new baby to work 50 to 60 hours, let's be honest. You know, so we don't know what we do. Whether you work at Walmart or something, it's like $15 an hour. So that you definitely qualify for WIC, Women, Infant, and Children. And like I said, they don't inundate you when you go for these questionnaires. So that is a great resource, and they're always, and they help, like they test for the iron in the baby and stuff like that. So they make sure the baby's healthy. And well, that's all, guys. That's all I wanted to share with you. And they have a lot of other resources when you go there for childcare and stuff like that. They can get you linked up with these things. So I hope this helped. And if you're a new mom, congratulations. And I know it's a lot, but the time goes by very fast, trust me. And it does seem like I used to go out the house, but I would always pack way over. But that's, moms always do this, right? But it goes by fast. It seems like it crawls, but it goes by fast, you know. And always accept help from people around you, because people want to help you. You know, they want to help with the baby and stuff like that. And always ask people if you need a hand. Ask. You know, people are more than willing to help. And you're the mom, so you make the decision. You know. All right. Well, I hope this reaches you well, and congratulations to all the new moms out there. And just you choose what's best for you. But I'm going to tell you, it's just step by step, and there's resources out there. All right? So have a wonderful day, guys. Take care, and thank you for coming in. God bless you.